Hey guys, so I am back up onto the Causeway Coast today. The last video, which you'll hopefully have seen by now, I was down in the Mourne Mountains, but I'm back up on the coast. I'm on the Causeway Coast, which is the north coast of Northern Ireland, and I'm down in the White Rocks beach, which is actually one of my most favourite beaches. And the purpose today is actually twofold. I'm here to shoot some abstracts, so we've got all these really cool, you can see behind me, these really cool white rocks, limestone cliffs, and there's loads of lovely textures and patterns. So I'm hoping to shoot some of that and also shoot some maybe patterns in the sand, ripples, little black marks, whatever I can kind of find. But the second thing is, across the headland here is the ruins of Dunluce Castle. Now, I've shot it a few times, but today the moon is due to rise. Now the moon's about 90% full moon at the moment, so it's going to be quite a nice moon. It has risen I think about half an hour ago, but there's quite a lot of low cloud just above the horizon, as seems to always be the way here. So by about 3:30 it should be pretty much in line directly above Dunluce. So that is my other goal, is to get a shot of that. So I'm going to be out probably shooting, if I swing around that way there, Dunluce perched on the cliff edge, hopefully with maybe a nice little bit of light hitting it, and then the moon above. So that is the plan. It may work, it may not, it may just completely be a total disaster, but we are here, and yeah, let's give it a go. Okay, so I've probably found a really good place to shoot, which is just behind me. The white limestone cliffs here have amazing details, lines, cracks, patterns, lots and lots of texture in them. I'm going to get set up here. Now normally whenever I'm shooting abstracts, one of the things we're going to do is probably going to shoot multiple images at different focus points and stack them. So what I'll try and do is always get the camera pretty much level with the surface. It means that the depth of field is going to be pretty much consistent from edge of frame to edge of frame. However, the likes of the rocks behind, because they go in and out and they're all just weird shapes and stuff, if I focus on one section, even maybe something that's only maybe a couple inches further in or further out, is probably not going to be in focus. So what I typically do with that is I'll take maybe 8 or 9 different shots all across the frame, so kind of work away from the middle, kind of out and then around the edges, and then bring them back in, and when I'm editing them I'll actually focus stack them, and hopefully then that means that by compiling all the sharp bits of each of the images, then we'll actually have an image which is sharp from left to right, or from corner to corner. I'm going to get set up here, and yeah, I'm just keeping an eye, constantly keeping an eye on Dunluce, because I really want the shot with the moon, but I don't know that it's going to happen, so I may just have to scrap it and just focus on this here, and not kind of be distracted by it, but we'll see what happens. This is the sort of thing I've been looking for. I've found a couple of, sorry, there's a lady with a dog just walking past giving me a really strange look. I found a couple of sections. It's really hard to find somewhere that is actually completely flat, just because of the shape of these here. But I've also found some really cool rocks down here, which I'll show you here now. So if you can look at these here, so those are the sorts of things as well which I am going to try and possibly focus in on. And what you're kind of really trying to do is create a landscape inside a landscape, if that makes sense. So you're really looking at the fine details of what's here, and it can be a little bit overwhelming sometimes, but I think I just need to make a start. I'm going to try this, and possibly one just over here I found as well, which I think looks quite promising. And the lady is still looking at me. She's pretending not to, but she's looking at me. Why is a silly guy talking to a camera with a furry thing on the top of it? So one of the things I'm actually trying to do is still think about my composition whenever I'm shooting abstract. So just because we're not shooting a big massive landscape, I still try and use diagonals, and I still think about the rule of thirds when I'm putting interesting things in the frame. So this one here's got like this really lovely shape of a yellowy kind of curve, and what I'm doing is I've put it down in the bottom third, and I'm still using that as a bit of a lead-in line to go further into the image. I've taken probably about 6 shots just at varying focal points here. I probably should have actually, there's quite a lot of little bits of sand in this here, and I always wanted to remember to bring a brush with me just to dust that all off, but I might be able to clean it up a little bit in Photoshop, which should be okay. But yeah, I've taken about 6 different images, sort of like one focusing here, one here, 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 and up here. Because if you can see, this actual little bit of rock here is all different depths. So this bit here is maybe sitting an inch closer to the lens than down in here. So I'm just trying to make sure that I cover all my bases, that I can get everything in focus. So hopefully once I focus stack them back in Photoshop, everything will be nice and sharp. Forget what I was saying earlier about being distracted by Dunluce, because the light has just hit it now. There's quite a lot of cloud. I don't think the moon is going to work, but the light on it is absolutely class. Looks so good. So I've temporarily paused the whole abstract thing, and if you can see behind me, it's maybe going to be slightly blown out, but just got the 70 to 200 mm lens on. Polarizer, I've got a 6-stop ND, a format high-tech ND filter on. So what I've done, my shutter speed's about half a second to an eighth of a second roughly. We've got some really nice diagonal lines of the waves going towards the castle, so I don't want to blur it out too much, but gets a little bit of movement, and the lines I've moved across a little bit just to get me more in line with the waves, and I think it's actually going to work really nicely. Yeah, just hang about here for a little bit longer. Sun is still out. Hopefully it might light it up just a little bit more, the headlands. So I've kind of become quite focused on this shot here as opposed to the abstracts, and it's kind of funny because sometimes you go out with this perceived plan in your head of this is what I'm going to shoot, because obviously I was coming here to shoot abstracts, and then I came up with this idea, and then I decided to focus on that, and then saw the clouds, and then went back to abstracts, and now I'm back here because the light is amazing. But there is a little break in the clouds, so I'm still hopeful that the moonshot might happen. The other thing I'm thinking now is the foreground down here is actually it's class. The only thing is this area of the beach is in shade, so I don't know whether it's actually worthwhile trying a shot from down here and actually shooting it with the wide angle, having all these little channels here. You can see in the kind of like the little gully, so the water's coming up in with the waves are crashing in. See there now? And so I might try and shoot that with the wide angle and hopefully get some light still on Dunluce. I think it's coming back out again. And keep fingers crossed that the clouds clear a little bit more. But yeah, I guess this is just one of the cool things about landscape photography, is it sometimes it's good to go out with a plan, and other times, yeah, make plans, but you just have to wing it a little bit. So yeah, we'll see where this goes. I've managed to find a composition here just in this wet sand, and what you kind of find when the tide's kind of coming in and out and the waves are kind of coming in and then they're dragging back out, and they wipe the sand nice and clean and they leave these lovely patterns. And what I've just been doing is shooting these lines here, just very simply f11, because everything's pretty flat. That's that shot completely gone. Everything is starting to sink. But anyway, the lines that were there, they were just really lovely diagonal lines, and hopefully I'll be able to show you an image of it. But just single exposures for that one because it was all flat, no issues with focusing or anything like that. Probably saw earlier as well, I was doing a few movements with the just before I got washed, everything got washed away in that last shot. I was going to say that just before I moved off the rocks, I was actually doing some panning shots of the waves, so literally going for about a second, and I had everything leveled, and I leveled the pano head as well, so then whenever I rotated it, it was keeping the horizon line pretty level. And what I was doing was just wait until the waves actually turned over so they were white, and then they were creating these lovely lines, roughly about half a second to a second exposure, which is creating some really nice lines with the long exposure, plus as I moved it as well. Yeah, I don't know whether I'm going to shoot anything more here, to be honest. The light has pretty much gone. I think the clouds are breaking up a little bit over Dunluce, but I think that shot has probably gone as well, and I may have one, maybe two abstracts to work with, so we'll see how we get on. And yeah, I think that has been definitely a very productive day on the North Coast.